The gap between the lowest and highest property tax rate on Lake Winnipesaukee, it's over $8 per thousand on the same lake. There are 8 towns surrounding Lake Winnipesaukee, and picking the wrong one could cost you thousands every single year in taxes alone. Today, I'm breaking down every town, the trade-offs, the price points, and who each one is actually built for. Alton, the convenient choice. Of all the 8 towns on Lake Winnipesaukee, only one really serves the Boston proximity problem, and that's Alton. It's the southernmost town on the lake. Route 28 puts you closer to the Massachusetts border than any other community on the water. If you're coming up from southern New Hampshire or still heading south during the week, that matters on a random Tuesday, not just on 4th of July weekend. Alton also has a generous stretch of shoreline, lots of different options and price points, more spread out, more residential. You're not just weaving through heavy tourist traffic to get to your own dock. And in some pockets, the lots are larger than what you would find in more commercial towns. Now, when we get into the towns like Moultonborough and Tuftonboro later, we will lay out the full tax rate picture across all 8 Winnipesaukee towns, so stick with me. These numbers are going to hit differently. For buyers who haven't compared town by town, it's usually one of the biggest surprises. Here's the honest trade-off. Alton's downtown is small, limited dining, limited walkability, limited everyday amenities. Most errands being getting in the car. Talking about prices, the median sale prices in Alton are around the low 800s, over 110% higher than last year. And the tax rate runs about $13 per thousand, which puts it among the higher towns on the lake. So you're paying for location and access, not for a dense downtown or expanded services. If your priority is nice waterfront and easier access south, Alton delivers exactly that. If you're chasing a walkable lakeside village, the next few towns are probably going to be more interesting. And if you're watching this thinking this is exactly the kind of move you're planning, let's connect. All of my contact information is in the description below. Reach out to me today and I'll help you sort out what fits your next chapter. All right, back to our next spot on the list. Center Harbor, the revitalized gem. Well, 4 years ago, you could drive through Center Harbor and barely notice it. That's changed. This is one of the quieter successes on Lake Winnipesaukee. Not the kind where they just announced a project and put up a sign. I mean, real energy, real activity, the kind where you feel it when you walk down Main Street. Gusto Cafe has become a local anchor for breakfast and lunch, the kind of place where you start seeing the same faces every Saturday morning. And after a while, that rhythm becomes part of your life. That's the texture Center Harbor is building now. When we talk about location, it's about an hour from the White Mountains. You've got skiing and hiking. The home values around here sit in the high 600s, slightly down from last year. Center Harbor has 4-season access with big mountain skiing a short distance away, but still is in the heart of the lakes region. This combination is attractive to buyers who want that classic lake town getaway with good access to skiing during the winter. And here's something to keep in mind as we move towards Moultonborough and Tuftonboro later. The trade-off between community amenities and pure waterfront focus. Stay tuned. But first, let me just put this on the table. Center Harbor is not going to give you a packed year-round dining scene or nightlife. It's a small town. That's part of its identity. Taxes have been moving as the town invests in itself, so that needs to be part of your budget consideration. But if you're looking for authentic, unhurried, a place where you can watch the community grow around you instead of feeling like you missed it, this town deserves a serious look. The revitalization is real. The better question is whether quiet with momentum fits where you are in life right now. Guilford, the prestigious option. All right, there's one address on Lake Winnipesaukee where properties rarely hit the market, and when they do, they don't sit. That's Governor's Island. About 190 home sites are spread across 504 acres. The middle of the island is all conservation with a few interior homes, and all of the waterfronts along the water either have houses or are being torn down. So supply is tight, and it's tight by design. When something becomes available here, you're not casually browsing, you're making a decision. In Guilford, off-water properties on Governor's Island run into the low to mid millions. Waterfront climbs well above that. This is some of the most coveted residential real estate in the entire state. The scarcity is structural, not temporary. Now, Guilford's other ace is Gunstock Mountain Resort. 49 trails, 8 lifts, about 1,340 feet of vertical drop, and more night skiing terrain than anywhere else in New England. You can ski and still be home for dinner on the lake. So hold that Governor's Island price point. We are going to get into a comparison between Meredith and Wolfeboro and the lifestyle comparisons. Now, let me tell you something. Guilford tax rate runs higher than most of the surrounding towns. At $11.85, you're paying for amenities, resort access, and if you're on Governor's, the prestige of the Governor's Island address. Homes in Guilford average in the high 700s, up almost 16% from last year. For the right buyer, that's a clear trade. If your goal is waterfront living at the lowest possible carrying cost, other towns in this video will make more financial sense. Laconia, the entry point. Next up, we've got Laconia. Now this place gets a bad rap sometimes. I don't think that it's entirely fair. Laconia actually is the place where people test the waters before going all in on lake life. Condo opportunities here give you real access to Lake Winnipesaukee at a price point that simply doesn't exist in most other towns on the lake. You try the lifestyle, you see how often you're going to use the boat, you figure out if winter here feels right. And then I see the same pattern playing out again and again. Buyers start in Laconia, they learn the lake, they experience the rhythm of the seasons, and once they know what fits, they move into the town that makes sense long term. It's a stepping stone for a lot of people. Laconia also has real infrastructure, like a Walmart, full grocery options, and retail. For retirees and anyone who values convenience, having services close by matters. Not everyone wants a 30-minute drive for basic errands in February. Now let's talk about a piece you can't ignore, Weirs Beach and Laconia Motorcycle Week. Every June, hundreds of thousands of people come into town for 9 days. If you love it, it's a spectacle. If you don't, plan around it. Either way, it's not a small detail for full-time residents. Laconia is an entry-level place, with the median price being around high 300s to low 400s, and the taxes here sit near the top of the lake, similar to Alton. You're getting services for that. But even if the purchase price feels more accessible, the carrying costs are not low. So go in with clear eyes. For the right buyer, Laconia is practical, accessible, a smart entry point. You just need to know exactly what you're signing up for. Meredith and Wolfeboro, the historic downtowns. But if the lifestyle you're wanting includes walking to dinner, bumping into neighbors at the farmer's market, and actually feeling part of something, you're describing either Meredith or Wolfeboro. These two towns give you the full picture, not just the lake, the community around it. I call Meredith Wolfeboro's older brother. More docking, more restaurants, more year-round activity. The downtown hums in all 4 seasons. There are events, there's real foot traffic, and it's community focused in a way that's hard to fake. Taxes are moderate and competitive compared to the towns like Laconia and Alton. And with mid $650 average, home values reflect the lifestyle premium without pushing it into another stratosphere. Wolfeboro calls itself the oldest summer resort in America, and it's earned that title. The historic downtown has ice cream shops, waterfront dining at the Wicked Loon, Marker 21, and Garwood's, all right on Lake Winnipesaukee. All with that classic lakeside New England charm that people move here to find. Black's Paper Store has been in operation since 1867. The year-round population sits around 6,500 and swells to roughly 25,000 in the summer. That's a real community, not just a seasonal backdrop. Now here's an important note on Wolfeboro taxes. The tax rate can look dramatically different year to year because of cyclical revaluations, plus a low $2 million sales price, which went up over 185% from last year. When assessments go up, the rate comes down. But that doesn't actually mean your tax bill drops in the same way the rate drops. You need to look at the assessed value and the rate together. That's where having an area expert matters. Before you make a decision on a specific property, you want to understand what the real tax picture looks like, not just the headline rate. So now that we've covered the downtown towns, the last 2 communities on this list represent the most distinct lifestyle trade-off in this conversation. And they also come with some of the most compelling tax numbers on the lake. Moultonboro and Tuftonboro, the waterfront focus. So if your straight up desire is, I want to be on the water, boat with the grandkids, grill in the backyard, and have the property itself be the whole point, stop right there. You've just described Moultonboro and Tuftonboro. Both towns tend to have flatter lots than other parts of Winnipesaukee. I mean, easier access to the water, more usable yard space, less climbing up and down stairs every time you head to the dock. They also have extensive shoreline with peninsulas that push out into the lake and give you waterfront exposure from multiple directions. Right in this area sits Castle in the Clouds, a 6,300-acre National Historical Landmark. So you've got history and open space built into the backdrop. Unlike Meredith or Wolfboro, you're not dealing with heavy summer foot traffic outside your driveway. It's quieter, more residential. And the price is also something that you have to keep in mind. Moultonboro has home values sitting in the mid 600s. Meanwhile, Tuftonboro is slightly down in the low 600s. And last year, Moultonboro has the lowest property taxes in all of New Hampshire. As of 2025, it's about $5.33 per thousand of assessed value. Tuftonboro comes in second lowest on the lake. Compare that to towns like Laconia and Alton, around $13 per thousand. That's less than half the rate. Now here's what you have to understand. A lower rate on a higher assessed value home still produces a real tax bill. A waterfront home in Moultonboro is worth a lot more than a condo in Laconia. But on a per dollar basis, you're keeping more of your money here year after year. And if you're thinking about fixed income, carrying costs in retirement, that difference compounds over time. The trade-off is simple. When you want dinner out or a community event, you're driving to Meredith or Wolfboro. The lake is the lifestyle. Everything else is secondary. Know which one you are before you sign. 8 towns, 1 lake. The right fit isn't about which town is best, it's about which trade-offs you actually can live with. So if you're ready to get specific about which town fits your retirement lifestyle on Lake Winnipesaukee, shoot me an email at adam@thedowgroup.com. I'll help you narrow the focus before the spring market heats up and inventory tightens up even more. And if Wolfboro caught your attention today, I have linked a full tour right here. Travel and Leisure named it one of the top 2 small towns in America. I'll walk you through the homes, the waterfront, and what it actually costs to live here year-round. See you in the next video.